The circle of introductions continued. It was a pretty diverse-looking group. Only a few of the guys looked as faggy as Nelson. There were some geeks. One college-age guy named Blake, who could have been a fashion model. A group of blonde preppies wearing khakis and loafers monopolized...
A guy from the internet named Brick.
Wearing khakis and loafers monopolized the cooler side of the room. There were a lot of girls. When a girl and a boy with boxy glasses introduced herself, Jason could have sworn he'd seen her before. Then he remembered her picture from the Post. She was one of 6 high school seniors nationwide to score perfect SATs. When the paper interviewed her, she'd come out as a lesbian. Across the room, a black girl and a white girl, Caitlin and Shay, sat on a love seat. Earlier, Shay had exchanged glances with Nelson. At first, Jason thought her gestures were about him, but he wasn't sure. Now the two girls were all over each other. Both were pretty not his idea of dykes. It was hard to believe they couldn't find guys like him. Like them. Like them. He should get Shay's phone number, he thought. She was probably just confused like him. Maybe they should help each other. Then it was Jason's turn to introduce himself. He sat up straight in his chair and felt the tension on his shoulder. My name's Jason. It's my first time here, but I'm not... His throat felt parched. I mean, I'm just here to see what it's like. I'm not, you know? Everyone stared at him while he tried to finish. Archie rescued him with,
"Welcome, Jason."
and moved on. Jason slid down into his chair again. Nelson bounced up in his seat.
My name's Nelson, and it's my first time queer. I mean, here.
Everyone laughed, and he continued.
In my case, there's no doubt that I most definitely am.
He turned and grinned at Jason.
You know.
Jason wanted to deck him right then and there.
Seriously.
Nelson said, grabbing his backpack.
I want to announce that I have queer visibility buttons, courtesy of my mom and P-Flag.
He turned to Jason again.
That's parents, families, and friends of lesbians and gays. My mom is vice president.
He pulled the buttons from his backpack.
Lovely pink triangles, Gertrude Stein pins, and a variety of slogans. Here's one. My parents are straight, and all I got is this lousy button.
The group laughed.
Nelson, you're such a cod.
Etc.
Etc., etc. If you want one, see me at the break.
Okay, everyone.
Archie said.
Today we're going to talk about coming out. What do we mean by that?
Caitlin's hand went up.
It's when you stop hiding that you're queer, or bisexual, or whatever.
A boy raised his hand.
I thought coming out meant the first time, do it, with someone you have sex.
That's when you come,
Nelson said.
not come out.
The group hissed and the boy threw a pillow at Nelson. Archie smiled.
Let's keep it clean.
He motioned for the group to settle down.
Some people don't come out until after they've had sex for years. Others come out before they've had sex with anyone. Coming out means you're no longer ashamed to tell people,
said Shay. Come on, Shay. Let's turn into a man. It's a question of liking yourself.
It's a question of liking yourself and feeling good about being gay.
One of the blonde preppies crossed his arms.
I'm not ready to come out.
no one says you have to.
The facilitator reassured him.
Most people do it gradually. Take your own time. It's up to you.
Nelson turned to Jason and winked.
I've been thinking about starting a group like this at school to help people who haven't come out yet.
Jason averted his gaze. The thought of a gay group at school was beyond belief.
I think coming out is the hardest with parents,
said Blake. Kyle nodded. Jason thought about his own mom. She already had enough to handle with his dad, and his dad would surely finish what he'd once started if he knew where his son was. Blake continued.
My dad couldn't understand how I'd gone out with girls and then suddenly told him I like guys. I think it's even harder if you're bi.
Jason stopped jiggling his leg. Bisexual? Maybe that's what he was. Maybe he didn't have to stop going out with Deborah. Maybe she would understand. But his mind spun with questions. Before anyone else could speak, 2 adults stepped into the room carrying fans. Everyone cheered and applauded. Over the roar, Archie shouted, "Let's take a break and set up the fans!" Jason sprang to his feet, the chair scraping the floorboards. "I better go," he told Kyle. You're leaving? Jason heard the disappointment in Kyle's voice and was about to answer when Nelson broke in.
Don't leave yet. After the meeting, we get a burger, Queen.
He batted his eyelashes and smiled.
Just us girls.
Jason winced. He saw Kyle jab Nelson in the ribs. Jason's finger curled into a fist. He had to get out of there before he punched someone. "I need to go." Nelson. Nelson reached into his backpack.
At least take a button.
He grinned.
It's a gift.
Jason shook his head, but Nelson shoved the button at him anyways. Kyle started to speak. Jason turned and raced for the door. He bounded down the 4 flights of stairs and burst from the building, cursing himself. He'd have to brace himself for Monday. Nelson would no doubt shoot off his queer mouth at school, and if people at school found out, Jason opened his hand and looked at the button the little fag had given him. It read, "Nobody knows I'm gay."
Well, folks, wasn't that wonderful? We'll join us again next time in Chapter 2 when we'll find out all more kinds of exciting things about the Rainbow Boys. Still no Brick, though. Sorry to disappoint.
I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is all